Hi, and welcome to First to Third. This is episode 87. Tonight I'm joined with Michaela, aka.
Hi. How are you?
Um, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, it is
Enjoying,
raining in
yes,
DC.
enjoying the snow. Almost April.
March 30th, and we still have snow. It's so exciting. It's ridiculous. I'm sick of it. We wanted to get you on the show tonight to talk to you about the Georgia Kickball Open that we had last weekend.
It was fabulous. It was awesome. I had so much fun. I was exhausted up until Tuesday from a weekend of kickball.
And I think that's kind of been the main thing. And we're not the first company to do this back-to-back kickball tournament scheduling. There's a lot of people in a lot of parts of the country that play multiple sports back-to-back weekends. But this was a first for the circuit. And how'd it go?
Pretty well. I mean, I had never played back to back. I know back, what was it, 2 years ago when there was the Waka Championship and then the Circuit Championship out in Vegas. That was tough. Some people were definitely feeling it. But yeah, waking up Sunday after playing all day Saturday was a bit tough. It was also rainy to start the morning off, so that wasn't very fun. But once you started moving and getting the mojo going, it was great. But then by the end of the day, I was tired. It was rough. Monday at work was definitely a rough day, but it was so much fun. I just loved playing in the women's tournament. I think that's like my new thing. I love women's kickball now.
We heard a lot of people saying that, wow, this is it. The guys are screwed. No one's going to come back to co-ed.
Right? It's just a totally different game. I know I said that last week, but it just, you're so much more involved in the play, and you're important in co-ed because, people try and they look at the girls as the opposite team's weak player, so they try and kick it there and hope, they make a bad play somewhere. But when it's all girls, everybody is important. Everybody plays the important positions, charger, catcher, pitcher, and it was just really cool being a part of the girls that were kind of figuring it out as we were going along. I joined the Flying V team. They were nice enough to let me play with them. Yep, love the jerseys.
The
And,
VJ.
just our first game, we had never practiced together and just kind of figuring it out. And after the first game, it was kind of like, oh, okay, I get this. This is how it kind of rolls. So it was a lot of fun, and just not just having one at bat and maybe a catch the entire weekend.
Yeah.
So it was really great being able to play and be in charge, kind of like on the field, and talking to your teammates, your girls that are kind of like brainstorming where you're supposed to go instead of just being told where to go, which co-ed-wise I respect and I appreciate all the coaching I get, honestly, but it was nice kind of being able to try and figure it out ourselves.
For those of the folks who weren't there, give us a sense. Like, did most of the girls' teams? So there's 16 teams from Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Maryland, Missouri, Virginia. Did most of the teams have guy coaches or guy
Most
base coaches? Or
Yes. I believe all the teams we played had a guy coach. I know that some teams don't. Some teams are. No, I'm wrong. We played Shockwave. So Liz was the coach there and captain there. But everybody else that we played, if I remember correctly, they all had a guy coach or an assistant coach per se. But they also had like female captains too. That kind of were in charge on the field, and talked to the coach during the lineup, figuring that stuff out. But they were very involved. I know some West Coast teams don't have guys as coaches, and I totally respect that, and I think that's great. But every team that I saw, minus Shockwave, had a male coach on the sidelines.
Yeah, there's been a lot of conversation in the women, and just if folks are tuning in and kind of are asking the question, how did we come up with the rules? We sent out a massive survey. I think like 70-something% of the women that took our survey said, let the guys be part of the team, let the guys go on the field. But then there's a lot of West Coast women's events that are saying, we got this. We don't need you on the field. This is a women's event. So it's been interesting to play out. I think we're going to continue as a company to allow guys to stay involved until, of course, the women say, this gives Team X an unfair advantage, which I don't think it would,
Yeah, I don't think so
or
either.
anything like that. But I've got to ask this next question. So in the women's events at circuit events, they play 3 pool play, and then everyone
Mhm.
goes to a limbs. So you get your 4 minimum
Right.
games. Some of the teams, so I'm looking at the scores in front of me. DMV 18, they go undefeated. One of 3 teams that went undefeated scored 47 runs in 3 games with a run
Wow.
differential of 43. Rock Solid out of Missouri scored 44. I had been to a women's tournament before and had seen a lot of offensive firepower, but good gosh, I didn't expect this much. Can you kind of shed some light on how some of these teams were just putting up massive numbers? Was the
I
competition so different?
I think it might have been the competition was so different. Honestly, in our pool, it was pretty tight. We had Shockwave, Seattle's Most Wanted, us, Flying V, and oh my gosh, forgive me, I'm forgetting. I think they had a purple jersey. I cannot
I don't know.
remember who was in the other pool, but it was it was pretty close. We lost to Shockwave, and then I think Seattle's Most Wanted.
You had Girl By, Shockwave Honeys,
Girl
and
Bye was the other team, yeah. But our teams, it seemed to be pretty close. We didn't have anything big. I don't think we won by too much until we got to elims, and we beat a team pretty handedly, but they were definitely running on fumes. Didn't have as many people to play. But if you get one of the fields had wind going out, and if you can just kick bombs that way, we had 3 or 4 kicks where you were getting 3 or 4 runs in on it because people weren't adjusting for it. So I could see that happening. Or if a team gets so frazzled that they start chasing the play, and then extra run after extra run gets in because they're not playing smartly, then yeah, I could totally see that happening. But I didn't experience a big blowout like that. But we could hear it when we were playing, and we heard of a few major uh, lopsided games.
Even getting into the limbs, well, first off, no overtime in any of the games, which I thought was interesting. Um, some of the games in the Sweet 16 were 20-9, 11-1, and
hmm
even all the way down to the finals. The final score: Seababes defeating St. Louis Most Wanted 12-5. Like that was a really close game, and for those of the 100+ people watching on Watch Kickball, it was a tight game, and all of a sudden, Seababes just kind of
Yep.
away and turned it up.
It really was. We had played Seattle's Most Wanted, and we actually beat them by 1 run in pool play, which was huge for us for a team, that hadn't played together before, and we knew that they came in with a lot of experience. So that was a big lift for us, and so we were looking forward to possibly seeing them in the finals. But obviously, Sea Babes came out and kind of our first inning was just horrendous, and that's kind of we went downhill from there. We tried to climb back, but it didn't obviously work out. But yeah, St. Louis Most Wanted and Seabase, it was really, really close, and then there was just a play, I believe, to the outfield where it just didn't get made, and then from there, Seattle's Most Wanted just kind of lost their heads, I think, and started chasing plays, chasing people instead of making the outs, and that's really, in my opinion, what does it to a team, whether you win or lose, is if you can forget the 1 run and just get the ball back to the pitcher and stop the play. If the ball keeps moving, smart teams keep running, and all of a sudden 1 run becomes 3 because the pitcher doesn't have the ball and play doesn't stop. And Seababes got up and they just took the momentum and just rocked it out. They did really, really well. They played really, really well.
So for someone who's watching this and who's thinking about bringing a women's team to an event, or they might be going to Jacksonville or Kansas City, and they hadn't even considered submitting a team to Sunday, what do you think some of the top priorities would be for someone who's kind of thinking about registering a team prior to the event? What should they be preparing for?
1, bring enough people. It's not a fun tournament to run shorthanded, I don't think. I think you get really tired. 2, make sure you have a few people that know the game of kickball, that have played kickball more than just beer kickball, if that makes sense. Just you kind of know the game. And then honestly, I would say get on YouTube and look at videos. I know you guys have been posting some. I would say check out all the women's videos that are out there, because you really will get a sense of what you're going up against. I had an idea of what women's kickball was, and it is so much more competitive and so much faster than I honestly thought it was, and I'm a girl, so it's not me being like, oh, it's just girls kickball. It just, I didn't expect it to be as fast and the girls to be as good. And come in with an open mind and expect your first game to be a little bit of a mess because you're just going to be figuring it out, but it'll take a game, and then I think you'll be able to get it and just get the ball back to the pitcher to stop play. That's my
Pretty good.
biggest piece of advice. Ball back to the pitcher, stops play, regroup, start over.
How do you think the officials, our head referees, our line referees, handled the difference? Because a lot of the guys, and when we did the ref clinic and talked to them the week before the event, we told them expect a different type of game, a little bit different speed, but expect the competition to remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the officials handled everything?
I mean, I think they did really well. I know people on the boards were saying things weren't being called because they were girls, but honestly, I think we had a situation where encroachment wasn't being called, but it was just like a co-ed game where the ref was in the wrong place to call it. And you guys can train the refs as much as you want, tell them what to do, but if they decide they're going to line up wrong, they're never going to see encroachment. The girl was stepping over it. Her foot was completely over the line, and he was behind another player, so he couldn't see it. So that's not them. I don't think that was him doing it because we were girls. It was just he wasn't, unfortunately, paying attention. But I think for the most part, they did a great job. They really took control of the game. We had some heated ones in our pool, and I think our poor head ref, I think he did a really good job. He kind of got vocal in one or two of the games to both sides of the team, but I think it was really needed to keep it from getting out of hand because there are a lot more people there than I expected to be there to watch, which was great, and I can talk about that later. But I think the refs did a really good job, and mistakes happen and it happens, but it wasn't anything different than a circuit tournament, a regular co-ed tournament, I don't think. I think they were there, and I think even they expected it. They were kind of like, oh, wow, this is a little bit more intense than we expected, and cool. That's great.
Yeah, speaking of the crowd, so I mentioned the watch kickball. So we had 2 cameras going at times. When we got to semifinals and the finals, for most of the finals, we had Shane Lossage on the boards doing commentary. It was really good. It was very windy. We had a couple females kind of get directly in the screen of the view, and we were just looking at their butts for a while. But we had over 100+ people watching this tournament, and that may not seem like a lot, but at co-ed events, we don't even see half that. Most of the time, our Circuit Cup Championship at the end of the year, we'll get 100+ people watching the live stream. And it's free, and we invite anybody to watch it if they're not at the event. But I got to say, I was shocked at the amount. We had 100 people watching like a pool play game on a Sunday afternoon. And I heard the crowds at the fields were epic. Like, most of the guys came back from Saturday, and everyone enjoyed their time. There was a lot of drinking on the fields as well.
Yes, there definitely was. I think that's great that many people watch live stream. I mean, if I wasn't there, I totally would have been. Our captain sent out the link to our girls group, so hopefully some of the girls on the DC team were watching. But yeah, I really did not expect the crowd to show up. I think the nicer weather helps a little bit because in the morning it was a much more sparse crowd. Kind of the significant others or the really good friends on the team showed up. But yeah, we had people bringing beer and going on beer runs and just lining both sides of the field, and each team kind of had their own group of spectators following them, and I was really pleasantly surprised because the talk, we got some macho dudes in the kickball circuit, oh, girls playing kickball, I didn't don't expect much from them, but I think girls and guys were surprised by the turnout and the type of play that came out and competed on Sunday afternoon. So I think it was a lot of fun. There were definitely some people struggling. I didn't go out Saturday night.
That was going to be my next question, if you guys went out Saturday.
No, we had honestly planned to, but with the double overtimes of the 2 games, and we stayed to watch the final, by the time we got back to the hotel, it was already like 10 o'clock getting ready, and I was like, well, if I have to be up at the fields at 8, personally, I was like, if I'm going to compete on a team that I've never played with, I'm not going to show up hammered. That's just me. No, no judgment to somebody else, but yeah, there are some girls on our team that shut the bar down and came in and kicked some major tail
Right.
the next day. So I think I can't speak for other teams, and I can't speak to how many people showed up going
Yeah.
out on Saturday, but I plan to. I plan to be out there for an hour or so and then go home, but the double overtime 2 hour delay did not.
Yeah, we heard from a lot of folks that a lot of the teams that traveled that night, like you caught a flight that night, didn't you?
Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough. But yeah, we left straight from the fields.
And Atlanta was a good location for the
Yeah.
first event because we noticed a lot of people prior to the event definitely wanted to come back that night.
Mhm.
Jacksonville, which is coming up, the fields are nowhere near the airport.
Mhm.
And we're not going to cut the women's event short by any means. That we treat each event as two distinct,
Mhm.
unique, competitive days. We're not going to try to rush it so people can get home. So I hope if you're watching this, you're going to Jacksonville, be mindful that the event might even start later. We're kind of testing the start time for the Sunday events. So don't plan on flying back Sunday night if you think you have a chance of winning.
Yeah, I think that was really great. I think the change, and I know some of it depends on where the fields are. I think that originally being at 11, that was tough because I had told Brick beforehand. I didn't realize the timing. I had said I don't know if I can do it. I'm going to be leaving before the finals, because you always plan to go to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
But moving it to 9 a.m. I know it isn't the best for the partiers, but for the team, being able to get a 9:50 flight or an 8 o'clock flight definitely helped choosing to play in both events.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah, and we sell circuit events as a travel vacation experience. We don't want to cut away from your social experience.
mhm.
So I think with Jacksonville, stay tuned, watch the event page. We might move it to 11 or 10. We wouldn't go to noon by any means. Same with Kansas City. Start time to be determined. We'll get feedback, and then DC as well. I think we'll also wait. And then everyone's feedback throughout the year. We'll make a judgment call for the Women's Cup. Actually, Long Beach, but we'll make a decision for the Women's Cup because we don't want you to come all the way across the country, compete, and then get zero action on Saturday night from drinking and socializing and enjoying the day you just competed at, and then know that you got to be up at 8 o'clock in the morning to go to another tournament the next day, even just to
Yeah.
watch. Like, everyone's tied to the same thing. They
Yeah.
want to enjoy themselves.
I definitely think that starting, if you can get that like 10 o'clock start time where you're not up at 6, maybe you're up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, okay, I think that works because then you do kind of, when people get, I couldn't, technically with the vacation I have planned this year, I couldn't afford to take off Monday, like just vacation-wise, so that would have determined whether I played or not, but I'm putting in for the upcoming events, for San Antonio especially, and since DC's up here, that Monday, possibly for travel. But I think it really helped, and the fact that it was right next to the airport was awesome. I know that's tough to do, but that was pretty clutch.
Yeah. Great job by Brick.
Yeah, well done, Brick. Because a lot of people were like, "All right, gotta go, airport."
Yeah. Are there a lot of people running out of the fields to get to the airport?
Yes, watching the last game or playing in the last game, and then heading out to go.
Well, great. Well, I'm glad you had a chance to attend the event. It was the first women's event we've ever hosted. It was in Atlanta. There was no rain.
No, there was a little bit of drizzle in the morning. It wasn't as bad as we expected, but it was. We all were kind of huddled under tents going, oh gosh, I really hope this rain stops. And it ended up being a really nice day, a little cool. The wind definitely picked up near the end. I got majorly wind burnt, as many girls on my team did. But I take it over the rain. But it was a great week, and it was a great first women's tournament for the circuit, I think. Congratulations, C-Babes, if I didn't already say that. Well done winning the first event. You guys played really well and were a tough competitor. I think the rest did a good job. Brick did an amazing job organizing it. Yeah,
we tried to get Casey on tonight, but apparently he just got shoved into a pool. So if you're watching,
jealous. We got snow. Casey's got a pool.
So we've got 16 teams. The Reliable Paper Women's Open. I'm glad everyone had a chance to attend. I think, Michaela, you're not going to. Let me get my numbers. Are you going to Austin for the Lone Star Kickball Open?
Yes.
Very cool. So we got 21 teams there. We wish we could add more, but our fields just cannot grow in size. So that event is sold out. You are playing with Cobra Kai, or who are you playing with?
We're going OSC. That's the first OSC tournament. Yay! I had a great time playing with Cobra Kai. Let me put that out there as well. They're a great team, and thanks for picking up me and Patio. But yeah, this will be the first OSC tournament of the year, and I'm really excited. I've never been to Austin. I've been to San Antonio and Dallas and Houston, but I've never been to Austin, so I'm really excited. I think it'll be a really good time.
I'm looking at the roster right now. Gorilla Juice Heads are coming out, JKI, Lights Out, Loose Cannons, Mixed Nuts, Oh Danny Balls, OSC, Relax and Lock It Up, Sofa King, although they only have 2 people signed up, so they might not be attending, the Gargoyles, and even a team called TBD, so I'm glad they came up with such a clever name there. And then,
originally, this tournament kind of looked a little more wide open. I don't mean that in a bad way at all, but I know all of a sudden I think a lot of teams kind of were like, hey, let's go to Austin. I know OSC was possibly looking at a availables team with some other teams, and then we ended up getting enough people to go, and so I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Make it a really competitive tournament.
It should be extremely hot, sandy, dirty, windy, but it is Austin. It's going to be just a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to that. That event is on April 26th. And then after that, looking ahead, Jacksonville Kickball Open on May 18th. Unfortunately, the same exact day as the San Diego Kickball Open. However, the Jacksonville Open has a women's event on Sunday. As of today, we have 15 co-ed teams and 5 women's teams, so that's really good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Glad to see that. And then San Diego, 9 co-ed teams at the moment. Again, solid West Coast teams are always late to the party to sign up, so I'm sure these numbers will be growing soon. And then Kansas City, the 3rd women's event of the year, is going to be May 31st and June 1st. And we've got 5 co-ed and 1 women's team right now, but that event is still 2+ months away.
Yeah.
The fields have been picked. They're actually in the state of Kansas. So you're going to party in Missouri, play in Kansas, and party in Missouri. So
nice.
Kansas City is just right on the state line, so that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's just it's been a really good first kind of quarter of the year. 3 events under our belt. And glad to see the women's event kicking off the way it did.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how we're already talking about Austin. I remember just planning about it and thinking about South Florida and then, Atlanta and the women's tournament. And, wow, you're right. It's the first quarter of the year is, boom, gone. Yeah. We're that much closer to the Circuit Cup. Oh, my goodness. That's crazy.
Speaking of Circuit Cup right now, we've got 2 women's teams that have already booked their tickets to San Antonio. That's the Flying Vijays and the Shockwave Honeys.
Nice.
In the Circuit Cup Championship, we have 15 teams as of today. So 3 events in, 15 teams, with a lot of new teams to show up at those 3 events, plus more this summer. We should see that number grow for San Antonio. Be a lot of
I was, like I said, pretty sore Monday. I don't even want to know what it's going to be like the Monday after the Circuit Cup for both men's co-ed and women's. Yeah, that's going to be. I might need to book my tickets now and try and find a first-class upgrade to get home. So intense.
Well, very cool. Well, Michaela, I appreciate your time being on the show as a host and tonight as a guest. Sea-Babes, again, congratulations for winning the Women's Kickball Open for the first time. You guys got an awesome trophy. And then at the same time, the Flying V for the 3-peat on Saturday night, and for just not raining in Atlanta, Georgia this year. It was a lot of fun.
Well done, and thank you for having me. It's always fun being on here, and like I said, join a women's team. Anyone out there is thinking about it, create one. You'll be hooked, I promise.
Definitely. And if you haven't seen the news, I got to talk about it. There is a casting call going on right now for a show on MTV. It's a possible TV show. I got to make sure that disclaimer is said. If you think you have what it takes to show that you're a competitive kickballer, MTV would like to hear from you. Email bestoftherestcasting@gmail.com. Send them your name, your age, the city and state you're from, your phone number, your email address. Obviously, you're emailing them, so they'll get that. The sport, any championships you might have won, and then 3 photos. Their goal, if they find enough interesting characters, they will be at the Jacksonville Kickball Open, the San Diego, Southern California Kickball Open, and the Kansas City Kickball Open. So if you ever wanted to be on TV, now is your chance. 365 has partnered with Atlas Media and MTV to make this happen. So definitely check it out.
Awesome.
And thanks again to Best of the Rest Casting for helping us with this casting call.
Awesome. That sounds like, I mean, it's MTV.
Yeah. It'd be pretty interesting.
I'm 30. I'm almost 31. Do they even consider me eligible with my age? I mean,
sure, why not? And then for those also who are looking to get some sick custom jerseys like these, the Flying VJs had in Atlanta, pair.com, and I'll be nice and I'll give you the URL. Pair.com allows you, your team, to make extra cash. If you go to the following URL, which is getpair.com/kickball365, you'll have a chance to win up to $1,000 for your team through apartments.com. So don't hesitate. It's an easy way to earn cash for your team. Once you earn the credit, you basically have a gift card to go to Savage, who is the official apparel company of Kickball 365, and you can win yourself or get yourself some really good jerseys for your upcoming circuit events.
Yeah, and it's so easy. It takes 5 minutes. You're not like subscribed to anything crazy, and you can just you do it. You ask your friends to do it, and it's done. I know a lot of people post in the forum like, "Hey, help my team," so I'll help this team, and then when it's my turn, "Hey, help my team," and it's really easy to win, like basically free money for uniforms. And Savage does a great job. I mean, I love the Flying Jays jerseys and some of the other ones that we've had. You know, I think Savage does a really good job. It has a really good product too, so it's worth taking the time to, get your friends to help you out and do the 5-minute clicking links thing.
Yeah, it literally does take 5 minutes. If you get enough of your friends to do it, it's $1,000. It's easy cash. It's simple. It is free to sign up. You don't have to give them a credit card or anything crazy like that. So, links below. Check it out. We appreciate your time. Michaela, have a wonderful evening this Sunday night.
Thank you. You too.
And I will talk to you soon.